Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We'll be starting shortly. We're just waiting for others to join before we start. Please exercise patience while we wait for other participants. Thank you very much. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. It's our first webinar for the year and we've been on a really long break. Thank you all for joining. We'll be starting now. Regardless, we'll be expecting others to join us, but we'll start either way so we don't delay the rest of you that have already joined us. My name is Chisamani Siva and I'll be basically I'm anchoring this webinar session. Okay, yes, basically I'm anchoring this webinar session. We'll be talking about today's session is on how to stop socially engineered attacks in your organization, and our presenter for today is Christopher Odutola. He's a SOFO certified architect, a SOFO certified engineer, and a SOFO certified sales specialist. So he'll be taking us on how to stop socially engineered phishing attacks in your organization. So if you have any questions, please note them or type them in the iron window. He'll be taking questions after his presentation. The recording will be available on our Yammer page. We'll send you the link via email. Thank you all for joining, and now we hand over to Christopher. Christopher, please. Thank you all.
Thanks, Chisom. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on how to stop socially engineered phishing attacks in your organization. My name is Christopher Odutola. I work with Sophos as a sales engineer, and I'll be handling this discussion today. But before we start, I need to highlight a few points on why this webinar is essential to you and your users in your organization. Every year, we see a lot of vulnerabilities waiting to be exploited. They could come in form of software bugs like Windows operating system, Adobe application, browsers, and all of that. Every Android applications as well. So we see vulnerabilities coming up all the time. We get software updates, Android updates. Updates come up because they find a bug and they need to release a patch before the hackers start releasing exploit kits to exploit the opportunity. The threat landscape has shifted a lot. We've seen more of ransomware, advanced malware coming up. Before it used to be just web malware and email malware. But now the ransomware and the advanced malware now use exploits to do a lot of damage. We're talking about the likes of WannaCry, the Petya, the NotPetya. These are malwares that cause a lot of damage, and they prevent access to your business files. They ask you to pay a lot of money, and a lot of organizations really don't know what to do to stop this. About 26% of Office documents like Word, Excel come with ransomware these days, and these are the kind of attack tools that they use. They load the Excel files, the Word files with macros that users who are not trained, who are not security savvy, will be prone to open and click on them to enable those macros, and then they get infected by ransomware, or even worse still, as we see today, cryptojacking. These are the quick facts about ransomware. It's really expensive per organization, depending on the organization, and we're talking about lost time, lost man hours. It takes about 2 or 3 days trying to get your files decrypted, but if you get hit by NotPetya, you will not even be able to get your files back at all. The most interesting part of this particular facts for ransomware is that 58% of organizations admitted that users created a backdoor for the attackers to come into the network. They may have unknowingly created this backdoor, maybe by releasing their passwords, or by clicking on phishing links in phishing emails, or by just sharing their password with random employees or colleagues in the office. But almost 60% of these attacks came from a careless user on the network. These are some of the very popular phishing emails that you would see on a day-to-day basis. As a Nigerian, you will know by reading this is definitely a scam. Some people don't. This is an old mass phishing scam, method. But the attackers have, they've gone really far today. We have all kinds of phishing. Phishing, by the way, is a social engineering attack. It's one of the social engineering attacks. We have a whole lot of them. We have BEC, which is very, very popular and usually targeted towards corporate organization. That's business email compromise. And we have also spear phishing and whaling, where the attackers now attack C-level managers, CEOs, senior managers, and the likes of that. So we've seen phishing evolve over the years into something much more targeted and much more devastating, because now phishing links now infect your system with ransomware and cryptojacking software. It's really hard now to spot phishing emails because they look very real. You see phishing mails, they go to your website, they take your logos, they take all your frames, your formats, and then they create another website that looks exactly like yours. And when they send an email purported to be from you, it looks exactly like the kind of emails that you send to your customers. So it's really difficult for the customers to recognize phishing emails. That's why you see a lot of banks, sending SMS, sending specific emails, not to respond to an email asking for their credentials, their ATM PIN, their BVN number, and the rest of that, and not to reveal confidential information via email. So it's really difficult to spot phishing emails. And research has shown that phishing emails generate more interest from users. Users are less likely to click on business emails, official emails, than phishing emails, because phishing emails have been targeted. I will show you some examples of how crafty the hackers can be and how they can get employees to respond to their phishing attempts. And so the phishing trends over the years, 2016 was a very tough year for consumers and users because the hackers had a field day. This was the election year in the United States, and you will recall that the Democratic Party in the United States lost the election partly due to a phishing attack. They sent an email purported to be from Google asking a man called Podesta to change his email address because it had been compromised. He sent an email to the technical guy, and the technical guy said, yeah, this looks like a legit email from Google. He clicked on it, changed his password, and the hackers just picked the credentials, downloaded his emails using POP3 engine, and that was it. So if there's phishing as a service where you have phishing kits and email sending services that do email relay, SMTP port 25, you pay them, you can broadcast as much as 100,000 emails. And over 90% of phishing emails have a ransomware payload in them. So phishing emails should not be taken lightly because the intention is not just to waste your time, not just to send you spam, but to send you something that would actually hurt you and make money for the attacker. And the new tactics, they've been able to redesign their emails to target them, around seasons. Like during Easter period, you would see emails meant for Easter greetings, e-greetings during Christmas period, and all of that. So they've been able to seasonally reinvent the attack system that they use. So what are phishing threats? Phishing threats basically try to bait you into opening an email attachment, which would of course be a phishing link. For example, they could change the I in Windows to 1, or they could change the O to 0. A lot of users will not notice this because they will just see Windows. It's a hyperlink. They click on it and go to the phishing site, not knowing it's a fake site. We've seen this from a lot of banks as well. So they make you click on a link that's malicious, and in some cases they ask for confidential information. Like those ask you to change your ATM PIN online. They will ask for your name, your date of birth, your ATM PIN, your internet banking password. That's the aim of the attacker. By getting that, they can do what we call identity theft. They can act as you. Some can even print your debit cards as well. And in some cases, they ask you to transfer funds to the attacker. Now, there's also mass phishing, where there's mass phishing, which is the most common type, where the attacker broadcasts an email from a template to everyone on the mailing list and hoping they catch someone. We call it batch and blast. And there's mostly to steal confidential data or to sell the data that they eventually get on the dark web. But spear phishing is targeted to an individual, most likely a corporate person like you and I. And then there's also the CEO fraud and whaling that's more targeted to the C-level people, and those are the people who have a lot of money to actually pay. Now, BEC is highly targeted. BEC is business email compromise. It looks very legit. It's much easier now when you go to Facebook, you go to LinkedIn, you can see everyone else's profile or social media accounts. From there, you can read their tweets, their posts, and you can begin to see how they think, begin to see the interest they have. In some cases, Some applications show where you're traveling to, where you book to stay and all of that. So it's easier for the attackers right now to quickly know who you are without having met you. And they can use some of these points in conversations, in emails that they will eventually send to you. So BEC costs over $5 billion in losses in the last couple of years. And it's very easy. You have software that's able to get you the email addresses within the domain. So all you need to just know the domain, plug in the software. It shows you the email addresses of the employees, their social network accounts, the connections that they have. If you go to LinkedIn, for example, you can see all of the person's connections, and you can click on them to further know who they are. So by doing that, it's easy for hackers to actually get an information about anyone. Even if they don't know about anyone at all, they can just go to Google and search, and they will get more information. So on that, we want to talk about ransomware. Ransomware is a malware that encrypts either your files, your folders, your master boot record, or your entire hard drive, and ask you to pay money to get the encryption keys back. So there are lots of flavors of ransomware. We have Crisis, CryptoLocker, and Cerber. Cerber actually hit Africa the most in 2017. So ransomware spreads very fast, and in some cases, in case of WannaCry, for example, it's spread across 150 countries in one single day. You can see Nigeria clearly on that map, along with the likes of Kenya, South Africa, and Angola. So meaning we are actually on the radar for the attackers that mostly launch their attacks from the likes of Russia, North Korea, and China. And we've also seen ransomware being equipped to run as a software update. Software update is one of the most trusted techniques in the operating system because it uses elevated privileges to download the updates and install on the laptop. Because for you to install any application, you need the administrator to give you UAC access, but not for software updates. Everyone has the software updates, already permitted at the admin level to run and download and install updates on the machine. So imagine a ransomware payload, coming to you through a phishing attack and getting into your software update system. It will easily infect all of the systems downloading these updates. We also have ransomware as a service. The same way you have phishing as a service, we have ransomware as a service. So someone can buy a ransomware payload, package it, and then go buy a phishing as a service and load the ransomware on that phishing as a service. So while they're blasting phishing emails, they're already equipping them with ransomware payload at the same time. So it's a double tragedy for anyone who receives such an email. So they can actually steal your business confidential information at the same time drop malware, drop ransomware on your network. The new threat we're seeing today is cryptojacking. Cryptojacking uses the same technique as the ransomware, but instead of encrypting your files, the reason why they encrypt your files or your hard drive is to get you to pay Bitcoins, right? To get cryptocurrency from you. So instead of them, locking your system to get money from you right now, they're actually installing the tools that mine cryptocurrency on your system. So what we're beginning to see is the case where a lot of users are reporting that the system is too slow. The system resources, CPU is gone up to 99%. The laptop is getting really hot. Mobile phones are not steady either, Android phones especially, especially those who have done what we call a jailbreaking. If you've jailbroken your phone, you're even more susceptible to this kind of cryptojacking attack. So they don't need to encrypt your files anymore and ask you to pay money. They can actually mine Bitcoins from your own system, using your own system resources. You don't even need to install any application. Once you open your browser, they are already mining cryptocurrency because your browsers usually use what we call cookies. You're already mining cryptocurrency as long as your browser stays open. So to download anything, your antivirus will not find anything because these attacks are really advanced. So we have the WannaMine, which came out around February. It's similar to WannaCry, but instead of encrypting your files, it installs a miner on the system that mines cryptocurrency. So by doing that, it evades all kinds of signature-based antivirus solutions or protection solutions that are looking out for WannaCry, because this is not a, it doesn't do anything ridiculous your system, really. All it does is just mine software, run like a normal application while consuming all of your system resources. So phishing is a huge business for the attackers, but it's temporary. It's potentially a big loss for you and I, because the breaches can wipe off a lot of the percentage of your stock market valuation. About 2-3 weeks ago, Boeing, the aircraft manufacturers, got hit by WannaCry again, and I'm pretty sure it had to do with an employee who mistakenly opened the door to the attackers again. So phishing is potentially going to bring a lot of losses to the organization if it cannot be curbed. And the reason we are here today is to understand how we can help the organization prevent phishing, because phishing is a direct form of social engineering attacks, and it's getting worse because social media is getting more intrusive into our lives today. All our updates, all our career, all our aspirations are all online, and it's easier for the attackers to target us than it was a few years back. So, for example, I want to attack a company called Total Protect. I need to get money from someone there. So I just go online, I look for the most important people at this company, and it shows me, an article about some guy called Michael Jackson. I pick this guy's name, and I find him on LinkedIn. I can see on the right side, there's some guy named John Smith, who definitely is reporting to this guy, because this Michael Jackson is a CFO. John Smith is an accounts payable guy. And I can see John Smith's profile. All I need to do is, now that I know the domain, I can search and get the email addresses, and then I can spoof and send an email to John Smith, because I can see the email addressing format is john.smith, that's first name dot surname at domain.net. So if you look at the email from Michael Jackson, it's actually total with a dash. The original one doesn't have a hyphen in between. So he sends an email to John, and notice it tells John not to inform anyone. Tells John not to discuss this with anyone. That's one of the signs that you need to watch out for. They tell you to keep something confidential. Don't let anyone get to know. This is between you and I. That's one of the signs that this is a phishing attack. So Michael asked who owns the account, and the CFO, the fake CFO responds, this is the account number I want you to pay, and this is the amount I want. Then he starts pressuring him, did you send the payment? And he keeps on pressuring him, what about now, where's the payment? And Michael eventually gives in and sends the money, and the CFO replies, okay, I'll see you on Monday. And on Monday, Michael will lose his job. Not only will he lose his job, a couple of people in that line will probably be fired, because there should be some processes in place for sending money, for transferring money to contractors or to anyone else for that matter. There has to be maybe some BI process, software driven, where someone senior has to approve a payment before it goes out, regardless of who's requesting for payment. So this is what happened in real life. This company lost about $40 million in their valuation. So a couple of companies over the years have lost a lot of value due to phishing attacks. Last year we heard about the likes of Equifax. Uber also fell victim to phishing attacks sometime last year. So phishing is a real threat, and we need to deal with it by attacking, by equipping the users from spot this kind of attacks. The common phishing elements are the fake domains, like we saw there, the totalprotect.net that had a dash, that's a fake domain. There's another method right now called Puniform. With Puniform, you could use diacritic characters. A diacritic character is like, in the case of an I for English language, you could put an I in another language that has a mark that denotes accent, for example. So currently, the World Wide Web does not support that kind of character. So you can't go to Google and type GO and put a mark on the O. It will never work. It has to be the English alphabet strictly. So the Puniform, what Puniform does is it converts the diacritic domain to an English domain that WW understands. So the hackers are now beginning to use the Puniform diacritic code to convert it to the normal DNS the normal website that we know, that the DNS understands. And that's a way they're creating their fake domains these days, and it's really working. They're doing this over WhatsApp, over Instagram. You see some raffle draw, some bonanza, or you want something, or enter this to win this, and it's a fake URL that looks like Google, that looks like Microsoft, that looks like Yahoo. But this sites actually resolve to a malware-infested site that most protection techniques cannot identify. And that's why we really need to train the users who are actually the weakest link on the network. So we have social media, lots of social media platforms, Twitter and the rest of them. We have phishing emails, which would not go away. It can be resolved by having some anti-malware and also by using sandboxing at the network level. And then we have the transfer exploit, which is where malware runs, because all kinds of ransomware or advanced malware use a form of exploits or the other. So these are the common phishing elements, and Sophos has been able to provide solutions to protect the network layer. That's with the email security, web protection, network protection with sandboxing and the rest of that. We've also been able to provide solutions for the endpoint as well. But for the users, what we really need to focus on is the attack simulation to prepare the users for phishing attacks by training, by testing and reviewing, and then by reporting to the rest of the team on how users have been able to make progress on the phishing training, anti-phishing training. So 99% of unwanted email can be removed at the gateway level if you have email security. So email gateway is still very important. Now you'll be asking, what about those that have Office 365 in the cloud? For Office 365 in the cloud, we also have Sophos email in the cloud. Sophos email will act like an email, will receive your emails from Microsoft, will clean up your inbox, and make the clean inbox available to you. So at the cloud gateway level as well, we can remove 99% of unwanted email, phishing emails at the gateway level. But the 1% is the one where you're concerned about, because that's the one that gets to the user, and that's the one that can actually bring the network down. This is where we need to train users to also do their due diligence when you receive fishy emails. When you receive emails that are too good to be true, they need to investigate further before clicking on them or downloading those attachments. For example, I didn't apply for a Canadian visa. Why am I getting an email saying I have a visa from Canada, I should open and fill the form? So those are the kind of ways to identify phishing attacks. As a lot of things, we have a product called InterceptX that's able to prevent ransomware. It's able to identify the exploit techniques that hackers use and block them. It's able to provide what we call a root cause analysis for you to do forensic investigation into every single attempted malware attack on your network. So our solution is called Phish Threat. Phish Threat is an end user security awareness training and threat simulation solution that helps to keep your users on their toes. Currently, we have fire drills in organizations where HSE is of high importance. Every couple of weeks, the fire alarm goes off and everyone runs down to the muster point and leave your laptops, don't take the elevators, just go down the stairs and run to the muster point. This is a way to prepare the users for the day where there will be a fire outbreak. It's the same way we need to prepare the user for the day they will get a phishing attack from the internet, and that's what Phish Threat is about. So we've been able to protect the gateway and the endpoints using all kinds of tools, but the weakest link is still the user, and that is where we need to focus on, so that the users are able to identify threats, if they're able to minimize careless behavior, like just getting a USB flash drive and plugging it in, or just downloading emails or visiting some malicious websites. If users are able to reduce or eliminate this kind of activities, you can then say we have a safe network. No network can be 100% safe if the users are not 100% aware. So with phish threats, we'll provide you with user training, we'll do a review simulation and see which users fall for these tricks, and then you can have a full reporting on which users need further training. So it's in 4 easy steps. First of all, you pick a phishing attack. There are several templates. You have phishing campaign, credential harvesting campaign, you have attachment campaign. That's where you have office files like Microsoft Word and Excel with ransomware payload. Then we have the training campaign. All of these campaigns are just simulations. They are not going to infect your network. They're just there to be able to help you identify phishing attacks. So you pick a security training module. So if a user, for example, clicks on those phishing emails that you have sent, they will have to go through some kind of training. We have some templates as well for PCI DSS, for HIPAA, for GLBP, and other compliance templates. We have them currently. So users will receive a test email. That's all they need is just to upload the user email address. So they get a test email, and when they click on the phishing link in that email, they get a kind of message that says this wasn't a real attack, but it could have been. Then it makes them take a video training. It could be a 5-minute video or a 10-minute video, and then they take an assessment which they have to pass. So the admin has visibility into all of this. So you can see which users are falling for the phishing attack, which users have gone through the video training, and which users have passed the assessment after the video. So that helps you to have an idea of which of your employees need further training. And this has to be an ongoing process. It can't be a one-off. So we have organizations that do this every 6 weeks or every 2 months. They don't inform the users when these phishing emails are going to come. They just send it at random, and they can get the feedback from the reporting tool. This is another one where phish threats So at the end of the day, you as the admin will have access to the reports. You can see in this report, let me pull this up a little bit. So you can see the number of sent emails, how many users opened the emails, how many clicked on the email links, how many entered their credentials, how many have started the training. In some cases also, we can see how many of them are repeat offenders. This is what you get from phish threats. By going through these processes, you can equip your users, your workforce, with the right tools to identify phishing attacks, to be able to report to the admin when they see a suspicious email. The reason you report this kind of suspicious email is so that the admin can be able to take some proactive steps, proactive measures like block the URL that sends them, that send the email, the IP address, or report the IP address, because there's what we call the RBL, that's reputation-based lists that most of the anti-spam engines use. So by identifying phishing attacks, you can quickly report to the admin, and some of these lists can be updated in real time. If you have a Sophos XG firewall or a cyber roam that's been upgraded to the SFOS firmware, we have what we call user identity that's able to identify users everywhere. So by identifying users, everyone on the network will be accountable for what they're doing on the network, including guest users. So regardless of the authentication method, be it the agent, single sign-on, clientless, Android web clients, Wi-Fi, VPN, we'll be able to identify all of these users and what they do on the network. And most firewalls will see the users, as corporate users who come in like normal people. But the firewall that you have, if it's running the Sophos firewall operating system, we'll actually see the users for exactly who they are. And we have a concept called user threat quotient. The reason is that every user doesn't pose the same risk to the organization. So with the UTQ, we're able to identify the risky users on the network, and we're able to inform the admin on what these users have been doing, which websites they've been visiting, so the admin can immediately take proactive steps before the issues get out of hand. Also, we can identify unknown applications. So if a user has mistakenly downloaded an application that is unknown, customers have probably a virus or a malware, we can also see that kind of malware and categorize it properly and block them from running through the network. We have rich on-box reporting for several templates for compliance like PCI DSS and the rest. You have templates already that you can just use to create your reports. And then we can show you the application risk meter. That's to show you the risky applications that are running on the network. If there are so many of them, then the risk becomes really, really high. For example, VPN software, BitTorrent software applications that should not be running on the corporate plan. And finally, you can see the root cause analysis from InterceptX. The root cause analysis shows you an insight into the root cause of an attack. It shows you the exact path of a malware through the network at every point what the malware tried to do, if it tried to encrypt files, if it tried to infect other processes, if it tried to talk to a URL or an IP address like a command and control center. Or if you try to change the registry key, you will see all of this information in a visualized format. And you have automatically an incident management tool on the web dashboard. This is online based. You can access this from your mobile phone, from any web-based device. And then you can update the logs. You can add your information to say, okay, this user has been directed to phish threat for further security awareness training. You can see here the name of the malware, the root cause, where it happened, what the user was doing at the time. This is actually a cryptojacking software that's been detected. The user probably didn't know about this. Maybe he just went to a website. The website launched a pop-up ad, maybe like NairaBet or Bet365, and behind it, it had a cryptojacking software running, and the InterceptX tool on the endpoint was able to kick in and stop that illegal crypto mining on that machine. It shows you what time it happened and which user was logged on at the time of that detection. So the complete next generation endpoint security suite would be a combination of InterceptX and endpoint protection to give you full protection at every level on the network. The reason is very simple. Phishing attacks have become more successful these days because of our over-dependence on the firewall. Unfortunately, a lot of users don't spend a lot of time in the office. They're closed by 5 o'clock and they leave the comfort of the firewall. So they have their mobile phones where they can connect direct to the internet. They have their own 3G dongles. They have their own 4G Wi-Fi at home, which is not protected by the office internet, but they're going home with office laptops and their personal phones. So this is where it's easy for them to get infected, to receive phishing emails and click on these links and attachments, because there's no firewall to do the sandboxing, to do the network antivirus, anti-malware scanning. That's why the endpoint is now the new perimeter. This is where we need to spend more time to protect the user. So endpoint security with user awareness training will complement the network security like the firewall and the UTM to give you total protection. So what are the next steps? You need to complete your anti-phishing strategies and combine them with a combination of technology, education of the end users, and also to revamp your internal processes. For example, there should be a minimum two-step internal finance control. Nobody should just authorize the payment to a contractor or to anyone for that matter without going through a due process, like someone needs to approve. About 2 people need to actually approve before payment is made. You need to encourage employees to question unusual requests. For example, if the network admin sends an email to an employee asking for their password, no one should ask for your password. If your password is expired or you've forgotten your password, the password needs to be reset, not to be given to you as a token. And they need to empower users, to alert on phishing emails. When you see a fishy email, don't just delete it or ignore it. Make sure you alert. You can take a screenshot and send it to your admin, your IT, your systems admin, and the system admin can tell you if this is safe for you to click on or not. You need to empower users to identify that and report them as well. So at Sophos, we can protect the network layer, give you network security for your network perimeter, and also for the endpoints, and finally the users who are the key assets in the company, because that's one of the ways that hackers can actually get through the defense system that we have set up. For example, in the case of this guy who transferred money to the hacker, there isn't much that the network protection would have done, nor the endpoint security solution. Because if you look at that communication, this was sent via iPhone to iPhone. So they were not in the office, they were outside, probably after closing hours, and there was nothing in between to prevent this kind of attack. That's why user education is very, very important. You see something that could take something away from you, you need to investigate further, check the URL, is it legit? If possible, type the domain extension in the web browser and see where it leads to. So you can try out all of these solutions, both for phish threat, which is what does the end user security awareness. You can try it online for 30 days. Ha-Shem can help you go through it. We have the email and web protection also in the cloud. The web protection is a feature also on the endpoint solution, as well as for the network protection. And InterceptX is the tool, is currently the best tool in the world that protects from ransomware and exploits. When WannaCry hit some 2 years back, InterceptX customers were not affected because InterceptX was already blocking all of the exploits that the WannaCry tried to use, which were Eternal Blue and Double Pulse. We had that already as part of InterceptX exploit technique. There are only 25 exploit techniques in the world. InterceptX has been built to block every single one of them. You can get your free anti-phishing toolkit from sophos.com/phishing toolkit. And when you also do the trial, you will have access to all of the anti-phishing videos that your employees can go through. For example, your new intakes, your IT students, your NYC people, and your fresh graduates, you can make them take some of this anti-phishing training course so that they can easily blend into the organization. So if you have any questions, we can take them now. Do we have any question? So while we're waiting, I'll just quickly show you what a sample phishing attack looks like. This was an email I received from a test attack. Let me see my screen. Okay, this was a test attack that I received, and if you look at it, it looks very legit. But if you look at the sender, it says Microsoft, no reply at accounts.outlook-mailer.com. No reply means don't reply to this email. If you send a reply, we will not receive it. That's one of the giveaways that you will notice from a phishing attack. Okay, now if you look at this, this looks very, very clean. It has my email address there. Then it shows me that someone logged in to my account from an unrecognized device. It shows me the name of the device, location is Singapore. So I'm guessing someone must have hacked into my password. Then it says, review your recently used devices. But if I hover my mouse over this URL, I'm beginning to see some suspicious links there. But most users will not wait to investigate. They will just click on to see exactly which devices did they use. And once you click on this, Sophos phish threat will show you this message. This wasn't a real attack, but it could have been. So it will ask you to click on go to training, which will take you to the videos that the admin has chosen for people who fail this kind of test. There's several templates. Let me show you a few of them. This is Software Central, where it's an analytics platform where we are able to correlate all of the protection mechanisms that we have. You can see endpoint protection, server protection, mobile for BYOD, encryption for full disk encryption, wireless for wireless access points from Sophos, that's Sophos APIs only. They have the email gateway, that's for Office 365, Google Apps, and other cloud-based email solutions. Then Fish Threat, which is the one we're talking about today. If I click on Fish Threat, you can see the current campaigns. I created this one today. And I'll quickly show you how you can create your test campaign, your internal campaign. So all you need to do is click on campaign, click on new campaign, give it a name. Company ABC, click next. Now you can see several campaign templates. This one that I really like, it says suspicious vandalizer. It says someone has been spraying anti-establishment graffiti around, or someone has scratched someone's car, and this is the picture of the car. If it's your car, please come downstairs and identify it. Everyone will be very quick to click on that kind of test attack. So you have all kinds of phishing attacks template that you can use. So let me choose the one for DHL. So you have a delivery, and I click on next. So I can see all the various videos, the trainings, credential harvesting, GDPR. By the way, GDPR is becoming a standard, not just in Europe, but across the rest of the world now. And I'm guessing it will come to Nigeria as well. GDPR is very important for compliance, especially for all organizations who keep customers' information. So you have all of these templates that you can choose from: phishing attacks, passwords, physical data theft, and physical security and data protection. That's both for data theft. We have two-factor authentication, Wi-Fi, phishing as well. So you can choose any of the trainings. Click on next. Next, you choose the email address, the email domain. So where do you want the email to come from? Since we're using the DHL attack, I think this at Shipping Online will be the best domain to use. You can have other ones that you can also choose from. You can use, if you want to send a LinkedIn attack, you can use this linkedin.co. These are all domains that Sophos has put in place for you to be able to trick the users. So I'm just going to go with this track Shipping Online and leave it as DHL. And click next. So the final step is to choose the users which you will have added people. You just add the users' email addresses, and they will come here, so you can pick them for the attacks. So once the users are selected, you just click next. Then you choose the start time. I would ask mine to launch immediately. And I'll also say send me test email. And then you click done. So now you have feedback. You can see how many emails have been sent, how many people have opened, how many users have been caught, how many have started their training. So you have this report as well. So if I go back now to my email, I think I went offline because I didn't want too many emails coming in at this time. So I'm going to wait for this email to come in.
Okay, while Christopher is still showing us the demo, please let's prepare our questions so we can state them in the IM window for him to answer them. Thank you. Okay, Christopher, I can go on now. Thank you.
Thanks, Chisom. Now the email has come. I see an email saying, Dear Christopher, we were not able to deliver your packages. I didn't send any package through DHL. Why am I getting this email? So I click on the failed delivery slip, and I get caught. So now I know this is a phishing attack. It wasn't from DHL, and thank God it's from Sophos. At least it's not a malware site. So now I'll have to go through the training and take the videos and pass the assessments, and then the admin will be able to see on the dashboard my progress. So that's how Sophos Fish Threats works, to educate your users and to prevent them from falling victims to social engineering attacks. So I'll take your questions now.
Okay, we'll be taking questions now. Any questions? Hello. Kindly type your questions in the IM window so Christopher can answer them. Okay, if there are no questions in the next 2 minutes, we'll be calling it a day. As we look forward to you joining our next webinar. But please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to type in the IM window. In the next 2 minutes, we'll be ending this session. Thank you. Okay, so it's the end of the 2 minutes. Thank you all for joining, and we sincerely apologize for the delay before we began the session. We're trying to wait for other people to join before starting. We'll be ending now. Thank you for joining. We look forward to you joining our next session. That will be next month. We'll send an email regarding that, and the recording will be available on our Yammer network. So the link is in the IM window. If you're interested in the phish threat trial, please send a mail to sales@hashem.com. We won't hesitate to contact you immediately. Thank you all for joining, and we look forward to seeing you during our next session. Have a wonderful day. Bye.